In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what dwells behind the curtain, the face of evil lurking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, could either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.
Hey, 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 hey. Greetings, 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 ladies and gentlemen. How in the world are we? How in the world indeed? Now, the truth, 908, is already showing some love. He's already representing. He's already letting us know. Already letting us know how he's rolling. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. I'm Iko Yamin. Over here, we talk about being better and doing better with a strong emphasis on doing. What are we doing today? Yes. I got a claim. I'm going to show you how to get away. How to get away. Shout out to Gail in the house. Mr. Step in the house. Thank you. So, how to get away with murder. You know, there are many sayings that have that phrase, right? Getting away with murder. It's almost like a secret desire that we have. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Getting away with murder represents a certain height of power and freedom. After all, a definition of government is one that has the monopoly on violence. The king is the one that can get away with murder. Ain't that right, Gail? And if you recall, I believe the Donald himself said that I could shoot someone on 5th Street and nothing would happen to me. Basically, he said, hey, I could literally get away with murder. It is a height of power, a height of freedom, a height of legitimacy, a height of, being able to get away without having any scrutiny placed on you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a case study today. And we also have an answer. We have an answer to the question, ladies and gentlemen. We have an answer to the question. The answer to the question of how to get away with murder is to get in a group or an order that provides you air cover so you can escape scrutiny. Sounds fairly simple, right? But we're going to get through the nitty-gritty of the hypothesis. And we're going to challenge it. We're going to assault it. We're going to assail it as we usually do over here. As we usually do. So let me see what else is going on. What else is going on? Okay. Black's Tropical Homestead. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. So what do I mean by this idea of being part of a group, being part of an order, so that you get a certain amount of firepower, not firepower, but air cover, I should say. Shout out to MOT. I was listening to him yesterday as well, and he was talking about the village, your ability to maneuver yourself into the right village because it takes a village. Being in that group or that order such that you get the air cover to avoid scrutiny. Now, let me ask a basic, simple question, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this whole thing about the group. What do I mean by group? Well, what I mean is being broke is a group. Having money is a group. Having insurance versus not having insurance. And it leaves you exposed to different things. Let's talk about one particular group that most of us have been part of. We've been part of these two groups, right? One is younger and broker, right? And then a little older, maybe with a little bit more financial stability, right? So we've been in those two groups. We've been in those two groups before. And we know what kind of air cover we get when it comes to scrutiny being in those two groups. As a matter of fact, can I get a one in the chat if anyone has ever been, younger and broker and also older with a little bit more financial stability? And we're going to talk about the difference here just to begin with, just to talk about this idea, this concept of how you get away with murder. Before we get into the case study, before we get into Mr. Alex Murdaugh out there murdering, before we get there, hey, when I was a young 19-year-old college student driving that Hooptie, maybe I don't have enough money to pay for insurance. And therefore, maybe my registration is not, and my tags are not up to date. Guess what? What happens? What happens, the truth, when you step outside your house and you're broke? They can get you, right? Is it not true that Babylon can easily get you when you don't have that money to register that car? Maybe you got some tickets that are being owed. Maybe you got some bench warrants, They put a $1,000 warrant out there for your head because, you haven't paid some tickets. Maybe you have some failed appearances because you didn't have the money. Failure to appear. Failure to appear. And now the judge has a bench warrant on you. And when you leave your house, coming out with that Hooptie, I had a Chevy Cavalier, ladies and gentlemen. I had that Chevy Cavalier. And yeah, the cops were always on my tail when I had that bucket. The cops were always on my tail when I was in the bucket. Move 10 years ahead. I'm 29 now, right? Now I'm in Orange County, okay? I moved out of the hood, if you will. I'm in Orange County. Orange County in Southern California, affluent area, right? I'm in Orange County and I'm no longer in a Chevy Cavalier. I am no longer in a Chevy Cavalier. You know what? Let me go ahead and see if I can find, for those of you who do not know, this particular thing here. In Orange County, same behavior, okay? Because you know what? Let's stay in the hood. Let's stay in the hood for a little bit. Let's stay in the hood for a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys come in, don't forget to hit the like button, okay? Thank you very much. And today we're going to be talking about the case of Alex Murdaugh and murder. And we're talking about how to get away with murder. We're talking about murder, which is power, right? And I say, hey, you got to be in a group that gives you air cover so you can escape scrutiny. Because it's all about escaping scrutiny. If you got the ultimate power, you got the ultimate murder weapon, and you are Genghis Khan, you come in and you create the order and you literally get away with murder, right? That is one way to go about doing it. A Chevy Cobalt, huh? This I had a Chevy Blazer. I had a few Chevys. So I'm saying we've all been part of these two groups. One is younger and broker. Younger and broker in a Chevy Cavalier without insurance. Younger and broker in a Chevy Cavalier where you come out and you don't have the tags and then they pull you over. Okay? Now they're asking what's in your glove compartment. Ain't that right, Gail? And and Gail partied last night. She smoked a little joint. She left the roach in her glove compartment. You see, now the long arm of the law is reaching out and touching Gail. She doesn't quite like it. Why? Because she is part of a group. The group is called Broke in a Chevy Cavalier without insurance. In Orange County, in a Cadillac CTSV, you know, the two-door kind. So this is me now, 10 years later. Orange County, no longer Chevy Cavalier, right? Cadillac CTSV two-door, right? Black. Same behavior. Maybe you still have that joint in your glove department. But guess what? Nobody even cares. Maybe you actually don't have your tags registered. And this is actual truth, okay? I would not have my tags, right? First of all, there are not even cops around that neighborhood looking to pull me over, right? They're not cops on the way when I'm crossing through the freeway to get to the Orange County side, you know, going south on the 5 freeway to Laguna Hills. And the cops don't care if my tags are not current. They're like, he is part of the Drive a Cadillac in Orange County group. And we don't bother those people. Now, are we beginning to get the picture? Shout out to MOT. As I said, this Murdaugh case and me listening to MOT yesterday gave me the way to treat this particular case that I wanted to talk about, which is, how does it go when you're in the hooptie, in the hood? What is the difference between that and when you're in your Cadillac in Orange County? Ain't that right, Gail? So, let's begin by looking at some information regarding this case. Okay? This is the case of Alex Murdaugh. And this is a rather interesting name, right? Remember Anthony Weiner? Got in trouble, got kicked out of Congress for showing pictures of his wiener. And then you remember how Bernie Madoff made off with all that money? Well, there's this guy called Alex, I should say. Alex Murdaugh. And he's got associations with all kinds of murder. Shout out to Kareen, by the way. She sent me an email about this case and about a week ago. So let's go through it fairly quickly here. Let's just get the outline, the basic outline of what's going on. So if we see here, 1920 till 2005, right? For generations, members of the Murdaugh family served as South Carolina 14th Circuit solicitor, the top prosecutor, representing Beaufort, Jasper, Hampton, Allendale, and Colton counties. So you see what group he's in, right? And we all know, we've all had that experience, whether being in the hooptie or then being in a different kind of car in a different kind of hood. I use my personal cars. And the difference is stark. Same guy, same kind of characteristics. That's me doing the same kinds of things. But in one group, these cops don't care about what I'm doing. They don't ask me questions. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? In one group, they're not asking questions. They're not asking questions. Yeah, what's the Ja Rule song with the hooptie again? Forget what it was. Oh, those are silly Ja Rule songs. Basically, an order is what people are trying to preserve. Let me say this and then we'll continue with the case, okay? When I say, hey, you got to be part of a group, a part of an order that gives you the air cover so that you can escape scrutiny. An order is what people are trying to preserve. Some people say, hey, it's white privilege, it's white supremacy, it's racism. Because the guy is white and the cop is white, something happened, bada boom, bada bing, that's why. Not really, per se. Because, you know, if you drive the right kind of Cadillac in the right kind of hood, You could be the same guy. If you have insurance money versus not having insurance money, you could be the same guy. And you escape far more scrutiny in one situation versus the other. And this is just a very small gap I'm giving. I'm giving the difference between a 19-year-old and a 29-year-old. College student, no money, to, hey, graduated a few years now. Maybe I'll floss a little bit. That kind of a thing. Only a 10-year difference. We're not talking about from 1905, as it says over here. Is it 1905 or am I exaggerating? Am I exaggerating? 1920 to 2005, right? So let's see what happens. Short timeline here. July 8, 2019. Stephen Smith, 19. Okay, 19-year-old is found dead on Sandy Run Road, Hampton County. No arrest is made in that case. Okay? February 26th. Gloria. G-L-O-R-I-A, Yes. Gloria, 57. Gloria Satterfield dies after a trip and fall accident at the Murdaugh family home. We starting to get a picture here? Are we starting to get a picture? Shout out to Adult Supervision, Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Shout out to My Vivid Life in the building. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not already subscribed to each other, go ahead. Subscribe to Man of Tomorrow. Subscribe to Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you get away with murder? You get away with murder by being in the group that gives you the air cover so that you can escape the right kinds of scrutiny, or so that you can avoid the right kinds of blow, take the right kinds of blow, give the right kinds of blows, right? Make the rules, if you will. So we just gave a very simple example again. In our lives, in our autobiography, we've all been in a position where we're broker and where we're not broker. And we know that for some reason, once we start having a little bit of money in our pocket, we don't deal with the cops as much anymore. Okay? So, let's get back to this story here of Murdaugh. Our man Murdaugh. The Murdaugh family. So, we've talked about living in the hood. I lived in Fontana, Kentucky. For those of you who may know Southern California. Well, it's a place that Al Capone used to hide out. It's like back there in the armpit of Inland Empire, Southern California somewhere. But we're talking about a nice county with an old family doing big things. So let's take a look, okay? Before we get into how that conversation went. The difference between when the cops show up, somebody tripped and fell. Let's look at this one, for example, right? Gloria Satterfield, 57, dies after, trip and fall accident. She was the housekeeper. Is there a difference in the kind of conversations that get had when somebody dies under some kind of mysterious circumstances? Trip and fall. In that hood, the corner of MLK and 16th, in the hood versus in the Murdaugh family estate. Oh, where the maid just had an accident. When the cop comes in, is there not an order that the cop is seeing? The prosecutor, the sheriff, the police, the investigating officer, whatever it is. I am not a law enforcement professional, but I know that when they come in, they are seeing someone who represents a particular kind of order. And that is the order that they are there to protect and to keep. That is the order that gives them cover and, right? That is the order that allows them to escape a certain kind of scrutiny that gives them power and control. Because remember, we say, hey, getting away with murder. Getting away with murder, That is, after all, the ultimate power. That is the power of conquest. That is the power of the conqueror. That is the power of Genghis Khan. Come here, chop all your heads, and then make the law. Make the order, right? So it's about the order. And this order is very well represented in this very family. The family is the picture of this order, right? So forget whether you're talking about whether it's racism or sexism or classism or white privilege or whatever the hell it may be. It's about an order and a group that protects each other under the rules of that order. So when he shows up in that house with a lot of marble and a big roaring fireplace or something like that, well, probably not in South Carolina, I'm not sure. But and this is the prosecutor. They've served as the highest, prosecutor or whatever they said. These are people in the same team, right? They're in law enforcement even, right? So there is an order that we serve to protect first and foremost, and it is above and beyond morality. Morality actually comes out of the order and not the other way around. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, does that make sense? The hypothesis is you protect an order. You be part of the order that gives you the air cover so that you escape the scrutiny. And as a matter of fact, this morality business, the order precedes morality. Morality is emergent from the order as a means of protecting and perpetuating, perhaps even describing, instituting the order. Ain't that right? Because if somebody came in here chopping heads like Genghis Khan, the new order will be his order. And the emergent morality from that will be based on, So if you come in like Muhammad and you do your thing, you're going to get Muhammadan type rules. Muhammadan type morality. Master morality. King David type morality. Ladies and gentlemen, The Felonies of Day by Silvergate. I actually have not read that. Yes. The other side of the picture is when you write laws so that they have teeth. You don't write laws or make rules that people are not likely to break. Otherwise, how do you control them? If Christianity was just, maybe just kind of try a little bit and you'll get to heaven, will that have any effect? Right? Does that make sense, Mark? Hell has got to be a really, really bad place in order for it to have an effect on you. And the rules must be so that you almost must be in the state of like, am I in the good graces today? Am I out? That's how law has teeth. That's how religion has teeth. That's how morality, doctrine, dogma has teeth. Anyways, that's a little bit of an aside, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to Murdaugh out there doing his thing. Out there doing his thing. But before I forget, I think I see a super chat from the usual, very generous, very, very generous, very kind, magnanimous, showing their largesse and the splendidness, the splendor of their heart. Blind guy, his wife, their life. Shout out to you. Another round of applause. $20. Putting you again, as usual, in the sponsorship category for today's show. So, ladies and gentlemen, how do you get away with murder? Get in that group that gives you the air cover so you can get away from scrutiny. So that when you get out of your house, you don't have to worry about them looking at your tags, pulling you over, checking your glove compartment, asking you questions. Next thing you know, Mark, you're sitting on the curb. Can I get a 1 on the chat for anyone who has ever been sat, who has sat on the curb, you know, the cops, the sheriff, whoever it may be, is, you know, they got you on the side of the road. And it's come to that time where, you know, you're sitting there on the curb. Or is that just me? Yes. Let us see here. So we're going to check something out. All right. We just talked about people dying. Okay. We talked about a Smith person. We talked about a Gloria person. But let's go and find the intrigues, okay, that surround this situation here. Let's see where it all begins. Or let's see where we are at as of September. So this is quite recent, right?
Alec Murdaugh, whose wife and son were found shot to death in an unsolved case 3 months ago, was shot himself on a rural Hampton County road yesterday. Now the South Carolina...
What? Yes, you heard that right. So remember, for a while now, people have been dying around. But recently, I believe a few months ago, 2021, wife and kid shot to death. But he recently was found shot in the head too. What's going on? You wouldn't believe it.
Alec Murdaugh, whose wife and son were found shot to death in an unsolved case 3 months ago, was shot himself on a rural Hampton County road yesterday. Now the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division is releasing new information. SLED says Alec called 911 at around 1:30 on Saturday. He told a dispatcher he'd been shot on Old Salkehatchie Road near Varnville. We're told Murdaugh's gunshot wound was, quote, superficial. SLED personnel arrived on scene to investigate at around 3:40. They worked throughout the night collecting evidence, processing the crime scene, interviewing potential witnesses, and following up on potential leads.
So. What are the odds, ladies and gentlemen? What are the odds that there's just so much killing,
This
accident,
video
dying,
shows how
murder,
you can
so on and
save
so forth
18% or more on your energy
going on with this one particular gentleman, one particular spawn of the Murdaugh dynasty. Okay?
bill.
What's going on with that? What is going on with that? So let's see. Let's check out something else.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill. Our family is...
Sorry about the
All
ad.
new tonight, several new twists in the Murdaugh murder mystery. According to the New York Times, Alec Murdaugh was pushed out of his powerful law firm over claims he misused funds the day before he called 911 to say he'd been shot in the head. Now, according to the Times, a member of the firm said the amount...
What? Oh, there's money involved too, and how about the housemaid that died? What?
was in the millions. All this as Murdaugh breaks his silence for the very first time since the killings of his wife and son. Tonight, a South Carolina murder mystery taking an unexpected turn. Alec Murdaugh, whose wife and son were brutally murdered in June, now for the first time breaking his silence, putting out a statement after he says someone shot him this weekend. The murders of my wife and son have caused an incredibly difficult time in my life. I have made a lot of decisions that I truly regret. I'm resigning from my law firm and entering rehab after a long battle that has been exacerbated by these murders. I'm immensely sorry to everyone I've hurt, including my family, friends, and colleagues. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division saying Alec Murdaugh himself called 911 shortly after 1:30 Saturday afternoon to report he'd been shot. He was airlifted to a hospital in Savannah, Georgia, with what authorities called a superficial gunshot wound to the head. He's out of the hospital tonight. We've learned he's checking himself into rehab. Back in June, Alec Murdaugh says he found his wife Maggie and their 22-year-old son Paul brutally murdered at the family's hunting lodge.
Are they breathing?
No, ma'am. My wife and my son.
And what is your name?
My name is Alec Murdaugh. Please hurry. Neither one of them's moving.
Murdaugh calling 911 after finding their bodies. No suspects have been named and no arrests have been made. Murdaugh's brothers sat down with ABC News over the summer, asking for the public's help.
Do you think they will find who did this?
Would certainly hope so.
I hope so.
Now we read.
That was good editing right there. That was a little shade. They were like, "You think you'll find who did this? I hope so." And then they showed the guy and just paused. Let's see. Am I tripping? Let you guys see that one. Am I tripping?
Would certainly hope so.
I hope so.
Now we reached out to the law firm today, but have not yet heard back. We actually found its website and Facebook page are down. New York Times is also reporting the law firm reported Murdaugh to the South Carolina bar. We also reached out to them to confirm they've not yet gotten back to us. Now, there's so much to unpack in this ongoing investigation, which is why we've compiled a timeline for you dating all the way back to 2015. You can check it out now on our website. That's WJCL.com.
The timeline. Okay, let's go back and check out a timeline that we started out with. Let's talk about some murdering with Murdaugh. Okay? They said 2015, which is correct, July 8th, 2015. That's when Stephen Smith, 19. I don't know who Stephen Smith is, but associated over here. But I guess he was just found on the road in Homeboys County. Right? No arrest was made. No arrest. And then Gloria, okay? And then February 24th, 2019, Mallory. You see, I didn't even notice Mallory before. There's so much murdering going on here that I skipped right over Mallory. Now, she too is 19, goes missing after a boat crash near Paris Island. A 911 call is placed from the scene. Okay? So, capture damaged boat, Following the week of searches, a boater discovers Mallory's body. Yes, she goes missing after a boating crash. And on March 3rd, 2019, she is found. Wrongful death lawsuit against Beaufort County Bar. Okay? How does he come into this story? Paul Murdaugh. Who is Paul? Is that his son, perhaps? So Paul Murdaugh on the charges of boating under the influence. Okay, so now by April, this boating accident that we're talking about, after which a body of the 19-year-old is found, this boating accident we're talking about, linked to Paul Murdaugh. Boating under the influence, right? So this back till 2015. But recently, what did we just see recently? We just saw right here in the most recent one, which is just September, that he's been shot in the head. But also he got kicked out a day before he was shot in the head, got kicked out from the law firm, embezzlement, millions of dollars, shame, disgrace, perhaps ruining the family fortune or something like that. Wagwan. Insurance, somebody said. Insurance, somebody said. And someone else said, hey, must have had someone that hated him. Shout out to everyone in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to everyone in the chat today. We're talking about how to get away with murder, how to have that power, that ultimate power that indeed is the power of the emperor, the power of the gods, the power of life and death. And maybe you're not trying to get away with murder. Maybe you're just trying to get the cops off your back. Maybe you're trying to get the IRS to ease off you a little bit. Maybe you're trying to avoid scrutiny of a certain kind. The idea is you need to be in a particular group, a particular order. With an order comes a group that protects that order. And the order precedes morality. Morality is just a means of perpetuating said order. So when you belong to the group of driving a Chevy Cavalier Hooptie in the hood, broke, without insurance, then yeah, the cops are going to be all up in your grill. But then when you move to the behind the orange curtains of Orange County and now driving a Cadillac CTS coupe, you don't get a lot of scrutiny anymore. Okay? Maybe they don't care about the joint in your glove compartment anymore. Because you are part of a particular order which is not to be disturbed. And it has nothing to do with racism, sexism, whatever. Okay, so let's put it this way. We all have that one friend, or at least if we don't, we hope that we would be able to have that one person that we're saying, hey, you're my, if I ever had to bury a body, buddy. Can I get one in the chat if I'm making myself clear here? We all have that one person that is like, hey, you know what? If I ever committed a murder, you know, you're going to help me out. Basically, the order there, the bond could be one of friendship. The bond could be filial bonds between family, for example. If you're a tight-knit family and you and that particular one brother of yours, whom you're particularly close to, and is a stand-up dude and is your guy in the corner, when he commits a murder, guess what? You're going to want to be giving him, you're going to want to see, hey, yo, what happened? How can we get you some protection, air cover, avoid some scrutiny? Because that is the order, and the order always transcends morality. And the biggest order, which is the biggest morality with the biggest gun, governs the day. So goes this story. So goes this black pill version of the story, ladies and gentlemen. And I rather like it. So, Murdaugh. The intrigue continues. Notwithstanding all the murders that happened, the deaths, mysterious deaths, boating accident, slip and fall of the maid, some of the kid found on the road, and now he shot in the head. A day before, right? A day before the incident, some kind of embezzlement kind of thing going on. What's going on here? Well, let's see. All right. Let us see. Oh, we have Dick Cheney jokes. Thank you. Shout out. Anti-Gravity 74. Anti-Gravity 74. Sounds like a song I should write. I'm stealing that one, sir or ma'am. And you say, hey, reminds me of when Dick Cheney took a... Oh, man. I think shot the guy with a bird, with bird shot. Shot him with bird shot. And then apologized in the hospital. But that represents the idea of an order. The idea of people like you, right? The people whom are like you, whom like mother and apple pie just like you do, whom perhaps look like you do, perhaps the same twang in their accent, perhaps the same religion, so on and so forth. The order that you're trying to keep. The more you are aligned with a group that has power and therefore is closer to the order, the less scrutiny is put upon you. So goes the thesis. So goes the thesis, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to MOT in the house. Yes, our resident law enforcement specialist and member of the military industrial complex. According to his own words, I'm not putting anything on him that he did not put out there. So, and yeah, shout out. Yes, don't go burying bodies. Okay, conspiracy to don't do that. Okay, that was just what are the words? Satire. Okay, satire. It was a metaphor. We don't have any friends with which we plan to bury bodies. Yes. So let's get back to the Murdaugh case. Let's get back to some few intricacies before we get back into this case of what the order is that we try to protect. And it's not a question of, hey, this particular guy is a racist, this guy is sexist, so on and so forth, whatever it may be. It's that there's an order and this world is a place of power games. The will to power, a la Friedrich Nietzsche, right? That's what this is about. It's dog eat world. I mean, dog eat dog. Big fish eat small fish, all that kind of stuff. Sounds very postmodernist, ladies and gentlemen. But let's see. Let me see if I can retrace my steps back to a particular video after which homeboy is found okay. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen.
This
fair use. So let's see now. He got shot in the head a day before that. Got let go from the law firm, embezzlement, millions of dollars, disgrace, so on and so forth. Some people are beginning to suspect insurance stuff. Some people are saying, hey, enemies. What's up with the wife dying recently? And all the other deaths, by the way. Well, let's see. And this commercial gets skipped.
New tonight in the Murdaugh murder mystery, authorities released the report from Alec Murdaugh's roadside attack. Saturday, Hampton County deputies say someone shot Murdaugh on a rural road in Hampton County. Since the shooting, Murdaugh says he resigned from his family's law firm and entered rehab. The South Carolina bar says they suspended his law license and are now investigating him. All of this following the shooting death of his wife and son back in June. The just released report, the Hampton County Sheriff's Office indicates there were no visible injuries. The offense for an unknown suspect is attempted murder, and no alcohol or drugs were were suspected. Now, there's a lot to unpack in this story. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim with more.
In a spectacular fall, Alec Murdaugh, once a celebrated lawyer from one of the most prominent legal families in South Carolina, now indefinitely suspended from practicing law. The South Carolina Supreme Court suspending his license due to accusations of misappropriating funds from the law firm his family helped build for decades. Murdaugh's family has been the focus of national attention since the brutal unsolved murders of his wife Maggie and 22-year-old son Paul this past June.
Are they breathing?
No, ma'am. My wife.
All right.
And what is your name?
All right. Heard it before, but it seems like, hey, they're painting the picture of where there is smoke, there's fire. Lots of smoke from the past, not even painting the pictures from 2015. Remember the last video clip that we watched? Our very able anchor woman said that, hey, we have a timeline on this guy, by the way, since 2015. They haven't mentioned the boating accident. They haven't mentioned the dead maid or the guy found dead with no arrests. But they did refer us to the timeline on their website. That takes us all the way back. And they're now saying this whole thing about the scandal and talking about the murder of the wife and the son. What is the investigation into that? Okay, let's see if we can continue here while we figure out while we figure out how we get away with murder, ladies and gentlemen. This is a case study. This is a case study. Thank you.
Well, first I just thought that they were freckled. Very unattractive blonde.
All new tonight, we're hearing from a Murdaugh family spokesperson about the recent shooting of Alec Murdaugh. Now, we first told you Saturday, Hampton County deputies say someone shot Murdaugh in the head on Old Salahakee Highway, a rural road in Hampton County. You can see just how close the area is to the Murdaugh family farm just past the county line. According to a family spokesperson, Alec Murdaugh pulled over after seeing a low tire indicator light. That's when they say a man in a blue pickup truck asked him if he had car troubles and shot him. Yesterday, Hampton County Sheriff's Office released a report saying Murdaugh had no visible injuries, although...
All right, so red flags, as they would say, some kind of obvious things going on here. Asked him if he had car troubles and then shot him. Well, look, okay, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that weird? Can I get a 1 in the chat if that is also strange? Or do we have an explanation? Does this seem to make sense? No injuries, which I guess you could shoot and miss, but the guy stopped, asked him if he had car troubles, and then shot him. Oh. Reminds me of the one about panda bears. You heard the one about panda bears? Okay. A panda bear eats, shoots, and leaves. Okay. So a panda bear goes to a restaurant, orders some food, eats the food, and after it's done, pulls out 2 guns, right? Starts blasting and runs out. And everyone's like, hey, what the hell? And he says, hey, I'm a panda bear. Look it up. So they Googled it and says, hey, panda bear, right? East Asian bear. Eats, shoots, and leaves. Anyways. Bad joke there. Where's my little, is that my, there you go. No. I think. Shout out. So, something smells a little fishy. Let's continue.
Today, the family spokesperson said he had entry and exit wounds and a fractured skull. They also said the wound was not self-inflicted. We've reached out to SLED, who is leading this investigation, to see if they have any updates on this case. Now, back in June, investigators say Murdaugh discovered the bodies of his wife and son in Hampton County. Their shooting deaths remain unsolved. Murdaugh's lawyer says he's currently in rehab. His law license has been suspended and is under investigation by the South Carolina bar. Now, there is so much tied to the Murdaugh family mystery, including a deadly boat crash and the unsolved case of a young man's body found on a Hampton County road. And we have made it all easy for you, a timeline on our website. That's WJCL.com.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us continue, or let us move further, okay, in this whole conversation about how indeed one gets away with murder. Okay? Now, we will continue to see as the story unfolds here what exactly is going on. But the question that comes now to us is this. This man represents the order. This man, since 1920 till 2005, as it says, represents the pinnacle in South Carolina legal sphere, or whatever it may be, right? He is the order. The family is the order. Hence, getting a lot of leeway, escaping a lot of scrutiny, being able to get away with a lot of stuff. But there is always a point where you become a liability to the order and the group, right? There's always a point where it's like, whoa, dude. Right? And that's why you always got to be careful when it comes to building these concentric circles of protection around yourself, whereby people know and trust you, maybe for your competence, for example. Hence, they'll overlook certain things. Ain't that right, my vivid life? You people out there in business, you understand, right? There's some kind of forms that some people have to fill, certain boxes they need to check. But if you're the guy that delivers MOT, If you're the guy that when I call you at night on a Sunday evening, right, you're able to solve the problem for me and save me $50,000, I don't really care so much which boxes you tick, right? I don't really care that much about some rules. I'm not going to scrutinize you that much. When you send me an invoice, I don't look too closely at your invoice, right? Because I know that you got it. Right? Shout out to Solo TV 84 in the house. The man, the myth, the legend. Because I know that you got it. A quick sidestep here, because the big idea is how you get away with murder. Basically, you need a team to give you that cover fire. The biggest level, it's literally warfare, right? How do you get away with murder? You get the biggest guns and you kill the most people, and then you write the history books. Ain't that right, Solo? Ain't that right, Solo, right? That's the master playbook. You know, I could just summarize Machiavelli. Get the biggest guns, kill the most people, and then write the history books. That's the biggest way of getting away with murder. But if you can't do it at that scale, you know, we all can't floss in that level. Then you find a group or the order that gives you the cover fire so that you can escape a certain amount of scrutiny. And we've been developing this idea, looking at this idea in our personal life. We talked about being the kid with the broke. We already talked about that. Being broke versus having some money to pay for insurance. All of a sudden, you can get away with some scrutiny. Now we're talking about competence. If you are that person, right? If you are that person, Gail, that they say, hey, when I give Gail the work, everyone's satisfied. From the secretary to my project manager to my billing department, everybody loves working with Gail and Gail's company. I don't ask two questions. I don't worry about whether Gail has all the. Don't worry. She'll make it up. Blah blah blah. Go ahead, give the contract to Gail. Because Gail is part of a group called the competence group, and the competence group gets cover fire. Is it clicking, Gail? Am I making some sense? Are we getting the picture? Can we now see how we get away with murder? Can we see how the order and morality? Can we see the metaphysics and the epistemology of it? And also the daily, very practical and pragmatic use of this, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, don't forget the game of Clue that we have in the background regarding my man Murdaugh, right? Murdaugh in the house. So let's see, because you know, right? Murdaugh has gone too far. By the time you start hearing on the news like this, okay, you messed up the order, okay? Because if you were Hernandez from the hood, or if you're Wallace from the hood, you're not going to get all these chances. You're not going to get all these dead bodies around since 2015, right? Are you going to get those chances, Wallace? You're not going to get Gloria Satterfield slip and fall over here, a dead body over there, a boating accident over there. You're not going to get Chappaquiddick. Do you remember Chappaquiddick? No shade to Ted Kennedy, but Hernandez from the hood does not get Chappaquiddick chances. You don't get to just drown somebody after a night of drinking and then go home, figure out your story, and then go tell the cops the next day. You don't get to do that kind of thing. So maybe they'll give you a few chances, right? Maybe they'll call you back to the room and say, hey. Doesn't quite happen that way, but you know, it's all about this whole, we understand the psychological dance that happens, okay? We understand the psychological dance that happens. When the cop walks into the house, okay, of the Murdaugh family to investigate, okay? And the Murdaugh is using the right kind of language because after all, they're in the legal game together. They're both officers of the court, if you will, to put it that kind of a way. And he sits there by the fireplace with all the marble and all of the Murdaugh family, so on and so forth. And this is just a formality. We're just here to do a formality. That's when they say things like formality. But if Guadalupe dies, right, in the hood, they're not just going to be like, oh, it's just a formality. Oh, she slipped. Oh, it's cool. They're going to want to know what's up. What's up with this slippage? Why? Remember, the thesis is, oh, it's not white supremacy, male privilege, pick your ism or your ist or whatever. No. That's kindergarten level philosophy. At the ground, it's power. Before we forget, it's power and it's order. And the order will tell you the details of the morality, will tell you the details of whom gets cover fire, protection, whom gets to escape scrutiny, because we're trying to maintain a certain kind of order. And this is what us, you, me, each and every one of us social animals does. So don't think that this is something that other people do, Wallace. Shout out to Kareen. I gave her shout out earlier. She was the one that sent me this video, by the way. And then I was watching MOT. So I'm thinking about murder, privilege, group. And MOT is talking about getting cover fire from groups and how important that is. You see, because when I moved from driving a Chevy Cavalier in Fontana in the hood, and I was getting harassed by the cops all the time, when I moved from that group, from the Chevy Cavalier group to the Cadillac CTS V group in Orange County, they didn't care about what I was doing anymore. And I was doing the same things. I didn't change. My actual behavior, my code of, it did not change. I just went into a different group, operated under a different rubric with different symbols, status symbols in this case, to signify, to show the signs. And hence, I get that leeway. I get to escape a certain amount of scrutiny. Ain't that right, Kareen? So, Murdaugh went too far. When do you go too far with this thing? And when do you fall out of the group? Right? Maybe 5 murders. Murdaugh. Really living up to that family Murdaugh name. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back and see where we were. Remember, there's a backlog of murders. Or shall we say deaths. Unexplained, accidental, so on and so forth. Till 2015. And now there's this shooting in the head with a recent murder of son and wife. So wagwan. Say what wagwan in this ya country. All right. Enough joshing around, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back. Let's get back to some professionalism and some good old-fashioned reporting or reportage, or is it reportage if you're classy? If you're in the right group and you get the right kind of air, cover fire, then you say reportage.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill.
Breaking tonight, Alec Murdaugh's stolen funds investigation. SLED says they're looking into the allegations from his former law firm. They claim Murdaugh misappropriated funds. Back in June, he found the bodies of his wife and his son on their property in Colleton County. No word yet on any suspects. Well, this investigation dates back years, and there are a lot of layers tied to the Murdaugh family mystery, including a deadly boat crash and the unsolved case of a young man's body found on a Hampton County road. So we've compiled a timeline for you dating all the way back to 2015. You can check it out now.
You see, they're beginning to like pull the rug out of this guy, you know. Remember when it was just, he was found shot. When it was the first day, they just said, hey, go check our website. And then now they're seeing this other thing about the embezzlement of funds kicking out of the law firm. And now they're like, hey, let's just start throwing it all out there. Remember a recent example of this thing? What's a recent example of this thing? Remember my man? I don't know why he's particularly my man now, but is it Joseph Epstein? What was Epstein's first name? It is Joe, right? Epstein. Am I right? Correct me in the chat. But we remember Epstein. The Epstein that was reaching out to scientists with groundbreaking research and being the only one to have funding for them. The Epstein that was in the circles, in the group, in the order, and got a lot of air coverage, cover fire, protection. But at some point, one, you become, it no longer works for you. Now, another point about this is the kinds of people to watch out for in politics. Now, you watch out for everybody all the time, of course. But it's like Mad Dog Matt has said, you say, you know what, be kind, but have a plan to kill everybody you meet. I like that one. I don't know if I'm misquoting. It might also be apocryphal, but it was attributed to him. And I like that quote because I get what it means. You got to have the plan for domination in any situation, even though it's like speak softly, but carry a big stick, right? Speak softly, carry a big stick, be nice, shake their hands, but have a plan to kill everybody. Everyone you meet, be like, okay, this one, I would take that thing over there. I would stab him in the neck. Okay, that guy. All right, I would hit his head on that brick pillar over there in that corner. You know what I'm saying? It's regular stuff. And then you call that buddy to bury the body. No, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, MOT told us none of that. None of that. But we are moving on, okay? We're starting to see more of the scandal unfold with this character. When are we going to finally find out what's going on here? Who killed the wife? Who killed the son? What's this? I got shot in the head. Somebody just saw me and said, hey, you having car trouble? Bang. Is that the new thing they're doing these days? Is that what the kids are doing these days? Let's find out.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more.
Skipping the ad in 1 second.
We are following that breaking news from overnight, an arrest in connection to the roadside attack of Alec Murdaugh.
Well, our Shannon Royster walks us through the new developments.
South Carolina authorities say they took 61-year-old Curtis Edward Smith into custody Tuesday. SLED says Alec Murdaugh told Smith to shoot and kill him. They say Murdaugh admitted to the scheme Monday, so Murdaugh's son could collect a $10 million life insurance policy. It was on September 4th when Murdaugh called 911 shortly after 1:30 in the afternoon to report that he had been shot on the side of a road. A family spokesperson said Murdaugh pulled off due to a low tire light, that a male driver in a blue pickup truck drove past him and then came back, asking if he was having car trouble, and that's when he was shot. He was airlifted to a hospital in Savannah with what authorities say was a superficial gunshot wound to the head. But the incident report released by the Hampton County Sheriff's Office initially checking the box, no visible injuries. Murdaugh's team pushed back. They released new details about his injuries, saying he had entry and exit wounds, and his skull had been fractured.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful indeed, ladies and gentlemen. This is beautiful indeed. Yeah, he went by, came back, asked him if he had car trouble, and then shot him. The hospital said, hey, no visible industries, and no visible injury, I should say. And they said, hell no. I had an entry wound, an exit wound. My skull is fractured. Remember Mike Tyson? Spinal. My back. My back is broken. They're contending. They can challenge because, you know, they are the order after all, okay? Because Jose Hernandez in the hood, and when Guadalupe dies, that's the only chance he gets, right? He doesn't get all these other deaths, plus all these other mysterious shenanigans, and get to embezzle millions of dollars. And now we got this guy, Mr. Curtis, whom was picked up. And Mr. Curtis says what? Mr. Curtis says, hey, Alec Murdaugh gave me money to shoot him. What? I guess this guy lived by the sword, died by the sword, wanted to die by his own sword too for insurance money. But how come he didn't finish the job? How come there was no sign of injury? How come they did not? I don't understand this. Is it possible that he wanted to do it that day because there was something about, because what I'm asking is this, look, if he didn't finish the job and it's like, damn, you didn't kill me. You were supposed to kill me, dude. That was the contract. Okay. Then you say, you know what? Don't worry about it. Come back next week. Kill me over here. All right. Now, one may say, you know, protection and this and that, and, you know, more heat in the system and that kind of thing, wanting to lay off of it. Now you got the eyes of the cops. There's a lot of scrutiny going on now. You don't have that privilege of being behind the curtain whereby you don't get the scrutiny because you got the group giving you air cover. You are the order. Okay? You don't have that anymore. But why didn't he come back and do that? And one may say perhaps he had to do it on that particular day because something about the embezzlement coming. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure. But I think we're getting somewhere here. We're getting somewhere. We're seeing the unraveling. We're seeing when you go too far and you don't get any more protection from the order. We must remember that we all do this. We must remember that we have an order that we're trying to protect. For some of us, it's that family situation, the filial order. Me, my brothers, and my cousins against the rest of the world. We can do all the murders. We're righteous. We deserve to murder. Or whatever it may be, whichever rules, right? And for those of us from immigrant families, we know about the illegal immigration. And, you know, hey, you turn your eye the other way. We know a lot of people who get married for the other person to give the person the papers and the things. Ain't that right, Kareem? And the order, the people whom are like you, the people whom do the things like you, the people whom share your blood in this particular case of familial order is primary. It's primary to the morality. It's primary before any of the rules and any of that kind of stuff. That's why you got to know how to play this game, how to play this instrument of the right kinds of groups to be associated with, to be bought into such that you get the right kind of privileges. Ain't that right? So let's see, by the way, Murdaugh keeps us heavily entertained. We are beginning to find out for the person that said, hey, I think it's an insurance scam. Well, I think you're right, but it's kind of still weird. Why no visible signs of injury? Why did the job not get finished? I don't understand what's going on.
Leading authorities to correct that report, now saying there were visible injuries. Murdaugh's family has been the focus of national attention since the brutal, unsolved murders of his wife, Maggie, and 22-year-old son, Paul, this past June.
Are they breathing?
No, ma'am. My wife and my son.
And what is your name?
My name is Alec Murdaugh. Please hurry. Neither one of them's moving.
Murdaugh called 911 after finding their bodies, both shot multiple times near the family's hunting lodge. His brothers spoke to
Well, seems like they finished that particular job. But anyways, let's continue.
ABC News at the time, saying their brother is searching for answers.
Is willing and still is willing to do anything that's asked of him. He wants this solved.
Just one day before Alex Murdaugh said he was shot, the law firm that his family spent decades building announced it had reported to law enforcement and the state bar that Alec had stolen money from the firm. The South Carolina Supreme Court suspended his license.
Our Shannon Royster reporting. Here's another look now at the suspect. Police say this is Curtis Smith, and he's also facing weapon and drug charges.
My man, Curtis
Good Morning
Smith.
America that's coming up after our
Curtis Smith. License revoked. Kicked out of the law firm. Report to law enforcement that you're stealing money. You just went too far, right? You get a little bit of access. You get to do a little bit of things, right? Hey, remember, Gail, when you invoice me, I don't check your invoices because I know you're competent. But doesn't mean you should start stealing from me, right? Like, what are these invoices? Does Gail invoice people for her extraordinary moderator skills? Gail is deep in his YouTube streets collecting checks, invoicing YouTubers. Okay, so let us continue, okay? We have unraveled a little bit more of this. And remember, as the title says, we got the scary title, kind of black and white with red, says, hey, how you get away with murder? There's some stabbing going on. And I say, hey, you get away with murder by being part of an order that gives you protection from scrutiny. And we know exactly what this is. We feel it every day in granular ways in our lives. We talked about being younger and broker and not being able to get away with certain things. And then you get older and you have some money. And you're still the same rotten apple you were, but now you get away with more. Nobody cares anymore. It's the whole thing about, anyways, the point though is, the order is something that we all want to protect innately, whether it be the good order or bad order or whatever the hell it may be. But we all have that thing as social creatures to want to protect our own and our order. The people that are like us. And it's no particular shade to anybody. Because it's all about power games, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and let's continue to see what's going on with our friend here. Murdaugh. Fair use, ladies and gentlemen. Fair use. Okay, I think he's being...
Curtis, do you have anything to say?
Oh, okay. That's Mr. Curtis being taken into custody, right? Mr. Curtis, whom was hired, allegedly hired by my man, Murdaugh, to shoot him in the head. It's funny how he said he got shot in the head, but there was no injuries in the head, right? How do you get, you didn't get shot in the head. You either get shot in the head or you don't get shot in the head, right? It's like, no, he wanted to shoot me in the head. It's like, well, no signs of injury. It's like, no, man, I had an exit and entry wound and my skull is fractured and my back is broken and my eye socket's leaking. I tell you. Let's see. What's next? Let's see.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill.
Percent or more.
And breaking news among all of this, SLED announcing late this afternoon they're opening an investigation into the 2018 death of the Murdaugh family housekeeper. Gloria Satterfield was the family housekeeper for over 2 decades.
Remember her? I told you, never forget, just like 9/11.
Court documents indicate she died in 2018 after a trip and fall accident in the
Little
Murdaugh
trip and
home.
fall,
In a letter
slippage.
to SLED, the Hampton County coroner believes there are inconsistencies with the manner of her death.
Inconsistencies.
As a result of that letter.
See? That's what happens when you go too far. You were supposed to, maybe a little slip and fall of your maid every 10 years is fine. But man, you packed a lot of murders in a very short period of time. Started getting the feds looking in here, people asking questions. It's not good for the order. It's too much. You're not Genghis Khan. Remember, it's all about power. He was trying to do Genghis Khan type stuff, but he didn't have that. He didn't, he wasn't swinging it like that. Remember, the ultimate is get the biggest guns, kill the most people, and then write the history books. That's how you get away with murder. Everything else is just, the piker, small time stuff. So for us small timers, for us non-conquistadors, we can find the groups and the orders to belong to that protect us from scrutiny so that we have leeway to move. Because we're going to need to break rules. Because rules are placed in order to protect certain orders. Let's say rules about hiring certain types of people. Rules about whom gets to do the road work in this particular municipality. Union rules, for example. Recall, these orders and these things precede morality. So this is not a question of morality. This is a question of power, right? This is a question of order. So if you want to instantiate a new order, if you want to leave a dent in this universe, you want to make moves of your own, whether you want to do it at the Genghis Khan level, where you're killing everyone and writing the history books, or you want to take over the dry cleaning business in Milwaukee, and the business is currently sewn up by some Koreans or something, and they've written certain rules into, and they've bribed all the politicians. You got to be willing to and able and understand that you go in there with your group, your power, and you seize it from them and you establish your order. Can I get a one in the chat if the through line in our thesis here, the thesis that basically we need to get, we are all parts of groups with these pros and cons. We've been focusing on a particular pro, which is protection from scrutiny. And we've seen in different aspects of our life, you know what? When I did move into that better neighborhood, the cops don't bother me anymore. And I'm still snorting all that coke. Or whatever you're doing out there, you people. Still doing all that stuff. Still scamming people. Still scamming. Scamming more than ever. But now you're in a Cadillac and they don't pull you over anymore. They don't ask you questions anymore. We understand the idea of the group, the order, the image, and the privileges that come along with it, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the through line. That is the thing. But then there's going too far, right? Murdaugh is the example of taking things too far. Don't want to be look, if you want to start doing Murdaugh type stuff, you got to elevate yourself to Murdaugh type levels, okay? If you want to drone strike people, okay? Because it seems like some of you guys in the chat would like to drone strike some people. You guys would like to have that kind of power, huh? The truth? Come on, man. Mark, I know adult supervision would like, some drone strike type power. But you're not drone strike, clearance yet. You can't go droning people yet. We haven't vetted you yet for that. At some point, you too can become Barack Obama. And you can be droning MFers. All right. Having too much fun over here. Let's continue. Let's see what happens next, ladies and gentlemen, with the Murdaugh story. Let's end this particular clip and then we will move on.
SLED looking into her death and the handling of her estate.
Okay, her death and the handling of her estate. So Satterfield, right? I believe her name was
This
the
video
maid.
shows how you can save
The maid.
18% or more on your energy bill.
It's
Okay.
Friday and time
Let's
for
watch
our
this one again.
weekly feature, Good Question. Positive stories about local people, places.
Oh, seems like he's been arrested. Let's see.
This video shows how you can save 18%
PG&E getting all the
or
credit
more
today.
on your energy bill.
Oh, that looks like Murdaugh himself. The god of murder. Murdaugh. And there is Murdaugh again. Let's check this out. Let's see what goes on here.
This video shows how you
Get
can
some
save 18%
C-SPAN.
or more on your energy bill.
Look into the best high school game day action
Our
from
fam-
around our area. Brought to you every Friday night during WJCL 22 News at 11. Powered by
Oh,
Chatham
this one looks like a
Parkway
long clip
Toyota.
with a long ad. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can look through this with some commentary. I wonder why he was trying to leave his son insurance money, because that seems to be the story. That he hired Mr. Curtis to kill him so that his son can get insurance money after all this disgrace and so on and so forth. That was the last out after he had embezzled all those funds. The last out after he was going to lose the family prestige and the family name. The last out after he was going to, or actually had already lost his license to practice. He brought the whole Murdaugh thing come crashing down after 3 generations. You know? They each got to murder one housemaid every 10 years, you know, and it was cool. But Alec couldn't, you know, he couldn't help himself. He had to go killing 2 and 3 and 4. All right. Seems like there are going to be some proceedings, okay? And I'll go ahead and try to find a suitable location from whence we can begin. All right. Looks like my man is making his entrance. See? He's a tall man with the bright color of hair and everything. Why'd you have to mess it up, Alec? Fair use. Fair use. Okay, let's see.
Murdaugh. I see that we have representation from the Attorney General's office. Can you please state your name for the record, please?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Craig Waters, with the South Carolina Attorney General's office, and with me is Megan Burchstead, also with that office.
Thank you. And also, let's see the defendant also has representation. Can you please state your name, please, for the record?
Yes, Your Honor. May I move my mask to the court?
Just to state your name, you have to put it back on after that.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Dick Harpootlian. This is Jim Griffin. We represent Mr. Murdaugh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got his 2 lawyers there.
The cases that we have before us today, Mr. Murdaugh, is case number 2021-8251-01-00204, insurance, false statement misrepresentation, and case number 2021-825.
Insurance fraud, basically. False statement and misrepresentation. Right? That's the first case I heard so far. Right?
510100206, conspiracy, and case number 2021-825-101-00207, filing for a false police report of a felony violation.
False police report, and then conspiracy, and then falsification, you know, omission, insurance fraud, basically. My rough interpretation was the first one. Right? And then lying about getting shot in the head and claiming bullet wounds, you know, that stolen valor part, they should have added that in there. How are you going to be arguing with the doctor? My man Murdaugh was arguing with the doctor saying, hey, how dare you say there were no visible injuries? I got shot in the head, entry wound, exit wound, fractured skull, spinal.
Okay? I'm going to read this information to you. It should be in front of you right now. Please follow along with me as I read it. We're going to start with number 2. Warrant for your arrest will be issued violation for any condition of this bail-bound order. You have the right and obligation to be present at trial, and trial may proceed in your absence if you fail to attend. Failure to appear in court as required may result in institution of additional criminal charges. Failure to appear in connection with a felony or while waiting sentence after conviction carries an additional penalty for not more than $5,000 of imprisonment for not more than 5 years or both.
Failure to appear.
Failure to appear in connection with a charge for a misdemeanor, who is the
Are they going to give him bail?
At least 1 year, carries an additional penalty of not more than $1,000 of imprisonment for not more than 1 year or both. Failure to appear in court as required on any charge not specified above.
Well, I'm familiar with failure to appears. Back in my Hooptie days, when I couldn't afford them tickets, and then you get a bench warrant because you didn't show up, for your hearing at the court for driving without a license. Oh, yeah. Failure to appear. Bench warrant. Sit on the curb. Let's investigate the situation. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good times.
Result of issuance of a warrant to defendant's arrest as well as loss of postpone. You also have a right to a preliminary hearing. You have 10 days from the day to do so. You can do that orally or in writing. You also have the right to a trial by jury. Once again, you're being charged with false statement, misimprisonment, first offense, conspiracy, and filing a false police report of a felony violation. You also have the right to counsel and the right to a court-appointed counsel.
Okay.
If financially able to employ counsel.
I'm going to move us somewhere prior in the timeline, okay? I'm going to move us somewhere. Recall, let's take a step back to the beginning, and let's refresh our memories for those who have been here the whole time, and for those who have been joining us, by the way. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. And also join Blind Guy, His Wife, Their Life, and other sponsors by, dropping something in the Cash App. Dropping a super chat, $2 something. Hey, let's get some colors on the screen. Dagnammit. So, ladies and gentlemen, recall, we had a timeline in the beginning, starting with this family from 1920 for generations. The Murdaugh family in South Carolina, representing the cream of the crop when it comes to the legal stuff, right? They were the order. They did get some cover fire and some leeway, some freedom from scrutiny, as you do get when you're in the right kind of group representing the right kind of order. Hey, we can even give some leeway to our family or to the right kind of person. If the person is competent, maybe we'll overlook some other things. Ain't that right? But then, strange things happen. Steve Smith, 19, found dead. Gloria, okay, slipped and fell. Okay, what's next? Mallory, after boating accident, found dead. Paul, whom seems to be the son, to the best of my understanding, okay, Paul was charged with, boating while drunk or something like that. And the lawsuit was filed, wrongful death lawsuit. Paul Murdaugh, as it says here, April 18, 2019. He pleads guilty to charges, and this is Paul. So let's see what this video says here. Let's check this one out. Looks like a good spot. This family history is rich. It's rich with the murder.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill.
The crash was arraigned in court this morning. WJCL's Alex Littlehills joins us now from the Beaufort County Courthouse. Alex, what happened today?
Well, Dale, Shannon, today is the first day that we've seen Murdaugh in a courtroom setting, as right now he is facing several serious charges. Now, Murdaugh actually did not speak at his arraignment today, that was done primarily by his lawyer, but his lawyer did say that Murdaugh is pleading not guilty to the 3 charges he's facing. One of them is the operation of a water vehicle under the influence of either alcohol or drugs, resulting in death. The judge did grant Murdaugh a bond totaling $50,000, but there are some conditions to this bond arrangement. He was ordered to hand over his passport.
Yes, back to the timeline, and we've seen this one before. We know of this, okay? This was the boating deal, right? And Kareem pointed out that Steve Smith has the same last name as Curtis Smith. Curtis Smith is the gunman who was hired and allegedly shot Mr. Murdaugh in the head. Steve Smith was found dead, 19-year-old found dead. Okay, let's see, what else? What else is going on with this family, this splendid family?
This video shows how you can save
PG&E.
18% or more on your energy bill.
It's Murdaugh.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
This is Alec Murdaugh at 4140.
He should answer his phone that way. Just Ja Rule voice. It's Murdaugh.
Okay, you said 4147 Moselle Road in Arlington?
Baby.
Sir?
You said 4147 Moselle Road in Arlington?
Yes, sir. 4147 Moselle Road.
Stay on the line with me, okay? Yes, sir. Stay on the line with me, okay?
This is a 911 call from when his son and wife were shot in the head. We haven't gotten to the bottom of that one yet.
Hello? I'm still here. Stay on the line. I'm still here, okay? Collinson, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot. Mr. Murdaugh, go ahead and talk to Collinson.
It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay.
Collier County Communications.
Collinson, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot.
Okay, inside in a vehicle?
All right, I know that's fairly loud, right? That's fairly loud. But we get the picture, okay? We're retracing our steps in the timeline, right? We were quite unsure about many things. We were quite unsure about our man Murdaugh. We were not understanding where he was up to, right? What other murder jokes do I have? Murder Inc. and out in the streets, they call it murder. How about that one? Welcome to Jamrock, camp where the dogs them camp at. 2 pounder within a van pack. It in a your, hey, it in a your backpack. This smell I give your girlfriend contact. Some boy not know this. Come around like tourists in the club with a few club sodas. You know what I'm saying? Bedtime stories. I'm front like them named Chuck Norris. I know about the real hard coca and dollars when got. Word them up, word them up, word them up. We're going to look at the next, okay? To see, as we flesh out this story here of dead bodies left and right, of scrutiny not adequately, shall we say, given, deployed. Let's see.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill. Our family is saving 18% or
2 members of a well-known low-country family were discovered overnight. You're looking at a map showing where their bodies were found on Moselle Road in Islandtown. Our Danae Bucci joins us now live from the scene with what we know so far. Danae.
Shannon, Margaret and Paul Murdaugh were identified by the Colleton County Coroner's Office earlier this afternoon. It was a long day for investigators at this property in Islandton, a rural area north of Varnville in Colleton County. The bodies of Margaret and Paul Murdaugh were found at 10 p.m. Monday night. The Colleton County Coroner's Office tells us preliminary results show both died from gunshot wounds. Margaret Murdaugh was 52 and was the mother of Paul Murdaugh, who was 22. Their bodies were discovered at a family hunting lodge off Mossel Road. According to county records, Maggie owned the property. The state law enforcement division has joined the investigation into their death. And the law firm where the Murdaughs worked sent out a statement on Facebook earlier today saying they appreciate everyone's patience and prayers during this time. Shannon?
So, Danae, do investigators have any leads yet?
Well, the Colleton County Sheriff's Office as well as SLED say they don't have any leads, but they don't believe that this incident should be a worry for the public. Shannon?
All right, Danae, thank you.
It's a colorism war going on over here on the screen right before our eyes. It's colorism, I tell you. Who's the house nigga? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Anyways, it's all in good fun, ladies and gentlemen. It's all in good fun as we understand the limits of how far your power and your prestige and your privilege can take you. How far it can take you. I couldn't help myself there, ladies and gentlemen. You guys saw it too, so please don't come for me. Okay, I think that these are the brothers, okay? These are the brothers that are saying, hey, you know what? He is going to look for the killers of his wife and his son. You know, he's going to go out there and he's going to find them. We still don't know if he did it. We know that he has been charged with the insurance fraud, the lying on the police report, the conspiracy, right? We know that Curtis Smith, whom was arrested, said, hey, he told me to shoot him. He told me to stop, ask him if he had problems, and allegedly shoot him in the head with no wounds. Okay, let's see what they have to say.
This video shows how you can save 18% or more on your energy bill.
Or more.
He's a very caring person.
Let's see.
And she was the rock of their family.
This morning, members of the Murdaugh family speaking for the first time since their brother Alec Murdaugh found his 22-year-old son Paul and his wife Maggie shot to death outside their South Carolina home last week.
I got a call from Alec Monday night. And as soon as I answered the phone, I knew something was wrong. Oh, man. He just told me. He said, come as fast as you can. Paul and Maggie have been hurt.
His voice, the fear. He was just distraught.
No arrests have been made, no suspects named. The Murdaughs issuing a plea for help this morning.
Well, the person that did this is out there, and there's information, however big or however small it is.
Did they have any enemies?
I really don't know of any enemies. You hear all this talk on the, social media with regard to Paul, but I don't know of anybody that would truly be an enemy or truly want to harm them.
What do you guys think? This is all rather interesting. And that's why I wanted to come in here today. Shout out to Kareen again for sending this over. Shout out to MOT for doing this video yesterday about the village. The village that it takes. I don't care how independent or rah-rah individualist you are. If you're going to do big things, you're going to need a group. You're going to need an order. And you're going to need fire protection, air cover. You're going to need people to protect you from a certain amounts of scrutiny. Right? So, how do you get away with murder? You find the right order that protects you from that scrutiny. Perhaps you get the biggest guns, killed the most people, as I said, and then write the history books. And then everything else is just an approximation of that. To get away with murder is something that we all, shall we say, aspire to. Hey, maybe there's some people maybe the real thing, the real reason isn't all our agitation, our political machinations, and all our, if only things were this way. Maybe we just want the power to off a few people here and there. Ain't that right, Gail? Kay Jones, ain't that right? The power to take life, the monopoly on violence is a key aspect of what the pinnacle of power is, what the conqueror's power is, what the king's power is, what the government's power is monopoly on violence, the ability to get away with murder. And it's done literally by no one scrutinizing you. So we saw that it is very different when you're in a hooptie. When I was 19 years old in a hooptie in my Chevy Cavalier, even before I went to the Cadillac, as a matter of fact, you know what? Before I went to the Cadillac in about 2010, when I went from the Chevy Cavalier to the Chevy Blazer, the level of scrutiny I got and the things I was able to get, things changed a little bit, right? Now I could afford, some insurance and my tags were up to date, so I didn't get pulled over for, the registration issues anymore, right? But definitely when I moved, I changed hoods. All of a sudden, the cops are not so much interested in my bad behavior anymore. They didn't care what I was doing. I was now getting away with things. Maybe not quite murder yet, right? But if you're my man Murdaugh and you're that family that is controlled and has been the standard and has been the order and has been the kind of people that we want to protect, the kind of people that the emergent morality system is meant to keep afloat, then maybe you can get away with a few murders. Maybe it's not just a thought murder that the rest of us plebeians, See, when you're broke, all you got to do is imagine. Ain't that right, Mark? Mark's out there angry, and he's too broke to kill anybody. So he's just got to imagine, He has not been vetted to be able to drone some MFers. So he's just going to imagine. Real power and real privilege is being able to push that button, isn't it? Shout out to MOT again. And I'm going to continue this conversation tomorrow with Dr. Thunder, where we're going to look at the nitty-gritty of maneuvering within groups. There is a very powerful tool, the tool of extroverted feeling, that which draws people together or pushes people away from each other. The vibes. You know what I'm saying, Mark? Know what I'm saying, Snuggles? The ability to play that instrument. Think of a Bill Clinton, for example. Think of a snake charmer, for example. The ability to play that instrument, especially of the group. We're not talking about individuals. There's a way to play individuals. There's a way to subtly persuade and influence individuals. But there's a way also to play the instrument of the group. And a way to choose the kinds of groups that you want to be associated with. You want to be associated with Orange County Cadillac group that doesn't get bothered. Or you want to be with the broke can't afford insurance Fontana Chevy Cavalier group. And how do you maneuver and create concentric circles of protection around you? Which is my particular method of saying, hey, I want to create a system based on my competence and my name. I want my name to precede me everywhere I go. I want it to be such that by the time I walk into the office, people have already known, oh, it's Ike, he's coming over. I've heard about him. This person recommended that, so on and so forth. I want my reputation to precede me because this gives me cover. Put in the situation of corporate America, for example. If you are very competent and you're under that group of the competent people who goes above and beyond to get things done, and you've saved people's butts over and over again. And when the project manager calls you, they know that they're going to get their problem solved and they're going to be able to solve the problem in a timely manner, not losing time and money. Saving them $25,000, $50,000 in the process because you're competent. then if some higher up is trying to even get at you before they are able to get at you, somebody is going to let you know. Can I get a 1 in the chat if this makes sense? Right? Haven't we all been there? If you have allies which are organically built, why is it organic? It's organic because it comes naturally from your competence. It's organic because it comes naturally because your name precedes you. It's organic because it's a reputation. You did not buy them. You did not go and slap their backs and so on and so forth. You demonstrated over time your competence, your expertise, your knowledge, your know-how, and that you're the man and you will get them through the problems. Okay? Even when somebody higher up than all of you is trying to get you, they're not going to be able to. Why? You're going to find out about the email before it gets to you. Before it gets to the other person about, oh, who's asking this question about this box that Ike didn't check. It's like, hey, why are you bugging Ike? He just saved me $50,000 last weekend. Chill out. What the hell have you guys done lately? That's the idea. That's one kind of group that gives you the cover fire to escape a certain amount of scrutiny, to break the kinds of rules that you got to break. Because remember my Nigerian rule? My Nigerian rule goes thus. How do I know that I'm doing something? I ask myself, well, how many rules have I broken this week? You take it the way you want. Remember, there are rules everywhere. Many, many rules to break. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Blind guy, his wife, their life. Laquita Marie and Curry. Was it Corey? Corey. My bad. Not Curry. Not Curry with some naan bread. But it's a beautiful thing that there are many rules out there to break, many intricate rules out there to break, many envelopes to push out, many boundaries to, many horizons to sojourn towards. Okay? And while you do that, make sure that you're in the right particular order and the right particular group that gives you the protection. Maybe a group that has a reputation for not taking BS. Or we talked about the group of competence, the group of loyalty. Learn how to play this instrument of extroverted feelings that bonds social creatures together. Without it, you cannot do big movements in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we got today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we got today. And perhaps we'll come back and revisit my man Murdaugh. Right? Let me see. And then they pause. It's like, out in the streets, they call it murder. Welcome to Jamdom. Poor people are dead at random. Political violence scandal. Where goes some phantom? The youth them get blind by stardom. Then the king of kings are called. Poor man to pick me. So wave no hand if you with me. You see the sufferation sick we. Them suit no fit we. To win election them trick we. Then they don't do nothing at all. And that's why enough little youth a bust some fatmatic. With the extra magazine in a them back pocket. Know what I'm saying? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. Shout out to Damian Marley in the building. And we're going to dip out for now with this little splash. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, my name is Ike Ogiam, and over here we talk about being better and doing better. And today we were talking about how to get away with murder. More murder, more murder. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we are out.
in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What's a pity? Tomorrow never certain. What was behind the curtain? The face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble that either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannons could breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest and the righteous in your corners.